Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you are in the right place following the launch of our Designated Teacher Award, championing children with care experience. Before we start, I will do a bit of housekeeping. We will talk for about 20 minutes and there will be times for a Q&A at the end. So please put your questions in the Q&A. We will get to that. Your microphones are turned off, so please use the Q&A. Okay, we have people joining us. That's great. If you have any colleagues that can't make it today, but you would want them to have access to the recording of the webinar, because we are recording and we are using a transcript. If you have people to share this content with, tell them to email cpd@uos.ac.uk and we can share this recording with you. Okay, so if you would like to follow the transcript, that's fine as well. You can turn it on and off. We use the Q&A and yes, enjoy the webinar. I will introduce our speakers. We have people from the University of Suffolk talking to you today, and they will introduce themselves as they come on to talk about different parts of the program. And we have our partners here from the Suffolk Psychology and Therapeutic Services and the Suffolk Virtual School. Thank you. On to Matthew to introduce our partnership.
Thank you very much. Really good to be here and warm welcome to you all. An incredible opportunity for the virtual school and for myself as a virtual school head, a huge moment of pride to be talking about a one-off. This Designated Teacher Award really represents something quite special, unique, but also really designated teacher role is an incredibly valuable one, very nuanced and specialist and needs that recognition. There are qualifications around the designated safeguarding lead, but not for the designated teacher until now. And so brilliant that we've been able to partner with the University of Suffolk to create this. It's certainly a role, I think, that requires a huge amount of skill. I can't speak highly enough about designated teachers, and anything we can do to support them is incredibly valuable. It's valuable because of the impact designated teachers have on our children, the stability that's created, the ambition, the drive, and just the degree to which our children feel held and protected as a result of really good quality designated teachers. Before this course, I did ask ChatGPT what a collective noun would be, what suitable collective noun would be for designated teachers. And it came up with quite a few interesting options, all of which I think are kind of suitable. It said a network was quite good. And I think that certainly alludes to how well connected designated teachers are. They have a fantastic directory. What you know about your communities is really specialised and well above and beyond the knowledge of many others within the school. Talks about an alliance, and we certainly feel the benefit of a community of designated teachers, how well you work all together. I quite liked the guardianship. I thought that was a good collective noun for designated teachers, a guardianship, those that look after people. The next one it came up with was a persistence, which I really valued. I thought that was pretty much on the money. But the best one I thought was a constellation of designated teachers guiding the way, absolute font of knowledge around our children and bringing so much. I'll stick with constellation of designated teachers. That's how I will view you, I think. Great to have you on the call. Great that we're able to launch this award, a highly special moment for the virtual school and a great deal of partnership work that has gone into this. A blend of theory, as it says there, and evidence-informed practice. Lots has gone into this, and I hope that you gain as much from it as we possibly can. It's an incredible opportunity, and grateful for you joining this call and hopefully signing up to the course. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for introducing the constellation work. What this course is about and how it is organized. Let me tell you a little bit about that. So my role in the University of Suffolk is that I'm head of education and social sciences. Within our master's course for education, we have this collaborative module that we now offer as a specific course of continual professional development, and you can take this university course on its own as your professional development course. It's a fully online module with tutor support, and it's oriented on understanding practice and your academic content and research-based evidence around what you will need as a designated teacher. The cost is laid out there, but there's funding support available that you can ask more about. And I think Ro will be able to answer some of those questions around potential funding opportunities. It is fully online, but it takes 7 weeks. So in an ideal time frame that you can invest throughout engaging with this course in your own time. And then there is an assessment at the end. Maureen will talk a little bit more about that. So this is a really valuable course that comes with 15 credits at level 7 at master's level. So you can bring those back into the university if you wish at a later time and put them towards your degrees with the university. You will get the content of a professional development and this university accredited award with it.
All right, I think it's passing over to me now. So my name is Maureen Haker, a senior lecturer at University of Suffolk. I've been working on this course since its first inception. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a closer look at how this course is structured. The course is made up of 4 interconnected units, and each focuses on a key area of understanding and practice when working with children in care and those with care experience. The first one, Championing Children with Care Experience, anchors the course in policy, legislation, and explores the professional roles of those who support children in care. The second unit is Attachment Awareness, which explores how early relationships will shape learning and behavior. The third unit, on Trauma-Informed Practice, looks at how trauma affects the brain, relationships, and classroom behavior, and also how we can respond effectively to those behaviors. And finally, Person-Centered Planning is the last unit, which tries to translate everything into practical action. So how education planning, when done collaboratively, can help support children in care. The aim of this really is to blend academic learning with practical application so that you not only feel informed, but also confident in how you translate that knowledge into everyday work with children and young people. So across the course, you'll explore theory and evidence that underpin effective practice and be invited to reflect on your role, contacts, and professional experience. The first unit is the foundation for the course. So here we explore what it means to be a designated teacher. This is the person in school who plays such a crucial role in advocating for the educational success and well-being of children in care. So you'll look at some key pieces of policy and legislation which shape that role, including how designated teachers work with virtual schools and other professionals to ensure some joined-up support. We'll also consider the unique context of different groups within that population. So, for example, previously looked after children and unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. By the end of the unit, the goal is to have a strong sense of the systems that surround the children and your role as a bridge between those. So ensuring their voices are heard and that their potential is recognized. Unit 2 explores attachment awareness. So we start with the foundations of what is attachment theory, and then we start to build our understanding of how attachment works. And we start with Bowlby's early work and go into more contemporary frameworks like Crittenden. We'll then move on to consider how environmental and relational factors, such as instability, loss, or stress, can all shape a child's capacity to form secure attachments and regulate their emotions. But this isn't just a theoretical unit. You'll also be introduced to some of the practical strategies for recognizing and responding to and repairing attachment ruptures. So ultimately, this unit is meant to help you see challenging behavior through a slightly different lens, not as defiance, but as a form of communication rooted in their experience. The next unit, and building on that, is introducing trauma-informed practice. So this one deepens your understanding of trauma and adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. You'll explore how trauma can affect children's emotional and sensory processing. So why a child might be, for example, hyper alert or withdrawn or easily dysregulated. We'll then introduce the principles of trauma-informed practice and look at what it means to create a culture of safety and trust and empowerment within educational settings. A big part of this unit is also relational practice. So how to develop and maintain relationships that are safe, respectful, and empathetic, even when there's challenging situations. And you'll have a lot of opportunities throughout to reflect on your own interactions with students and to consider what it means to model emotional regulation and repair. And finally, Unit 4 is aiming to bring everything together through person-centered planning. So here the focus is turning theory into practice. You'll explore some of the values and the legal frameworks that underpin person-centered approaches. So that is approaches that put the child or young person at the heart of the planning process. And we'll look at some practical tools like path and map planning. And I'll show you an example in just a second of a path. And you'll be able to hopefully apply some of those to different ages and stages and transitions. So this unit really is all about empowerment. It's about helping young people to be active participants in their education and their future, and not just passive recipients of the decisions that are made for them. Throughout this course, learning is supported through short knowledge checkpoints. So these are things like reflections and quizzes, and those will help you consolidate some of the key ideas as you go along. The final assessment brings everything together in a very practical way. So you'll create a person-centered education plan for a child with care experience. So for example, you'll be using a path or a map framework that's covered within the module, and you then write a 2,000-word rationale that connects your plan to theory and policy and evidence. So this allows you to demonstrate not only your understanding of the academic material, but also your ability to apply it to a real-world educational context. And because it's directly relevant to your own work, if you're working in a school as a designated teacher, it could also have the immediate impact for the children and the settings that you support. So here's an example of one of those paths. Bearing in mind, this one is created with a graphic facilitator, but it just gives you a taste for how the assessment is meant to be both creative as well as academic. So you'll be able to learn about this kind of educational planning, have a go with a hypothetical situation to see what sorts of things you might come up with, and then explain all of that within your academic piece, the rationale that sits alongside this. There are resources and supports available throughout the module as well. So every unit is going to contain some principal information posters, which can be reused in your own settings. There will also be signposting to further reading and related materials for further study. And then there's opportunities to share practice with the module tutor and your fellow students. I'm going to pass over to Ro now to explore who might be interested in taking this course.
Thank you, Maureen. Yes, my name's Ro Hart. I'm one of the deputy virtual school heads of the Suffolk Virtual School. And I was previously a high school Senko. So I came to this when Maureen and I first met, was around knowing that there was a National Senko Award, but there wasn't an equivalent for a designated teacher. And so it was part of what we wanted to develop and offer for our designated teacher constellation. So really talking it through in terms of, is this course right for you? We have devised it originally with designated teachers in mind, but it's very much open to anybody within a school setting or a carer, whatever your setting is. If you're working with children that have had care experience, or a child with a social worker, a child previously looked after, working with young people in that context, then you would be very welcome to take this course. So it's really about looking to champion children in care and children with care experience. So it's open to you if you're a carer, support worker, other professionals, for yourself as well, if you've had care experience and wish to learn more about the care system in the UK. And do you have previous study in childhood, passionate about advocating for underserved groups? So really, the championing the children is really at the heart of the whole course. Whatever you're coming to that with, we would want you to participate. As explained, you can achieve the award, and that could work towards a master's, or you can do it as a standalone course.
If there's any questions from anyone in attendance, please put those through. If you are interested, please feel free to scan the QR code to book your place, or give us a call and we can help you with the application process.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's really clearly outlined the content of the program, who it is for. Maybe we can say a little bit more about how to apply. So I think really the best way is to go onto the website. That's where the QR code is taking you. And there's 2 steps in the registration process. There's an expression of interest that helps us to quickly be able to communicate with you and send you any additional information. And then the second step will be to go through the official registration through the university application system. So to have that flexible communication, please feel free that expression of interest as well, starting the official application process to the university course. So this helps us in communications. If you have any further questions, there's that email address as well. Feel free to share that, share the website, share that email address with your colleagues. We can send the recording from this webinar. I don't really see any questions in the Q&A or in the chat. If you wanted to ask on the mic, if you had any questions, you can turn on your microphones or you can post it in the chat. If we don't have questions, we could think of what maybe participants might be thinking about, what might be the common questions that people have. We have people here from the university side of things, from the CPD hub, and from the virtual school, from the psychology and therapeutic services. Do colleagues have ideas what people might want to know about? Ro, go ahead.
I realised one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I might mention was funding. There would be some funding available if you work in a school and have a role specifically for children in care, because we do make some of our pupil premium funding available for professional development of staff, but that funding would only be available to people working directly with Suffolk children in care in a school setting, but there is some potential for that. And I think that was probably the main question I could think of.
How do they go about getting that funding, Ro? Would they just contact you, or is there any other way for them to?
They would just they could contact us, and typically it would be a designated teacher, or it might be a member of their team that's working with a young person. So we would look at that in terms of whether we've got that funding available. It will in part depend on the number of people that ask, because obviously the funding is limited and the conditions of our grant are clear. So it would just be whether we could make that available, but certainly we would look to do so if we could. But yes, they would just email us directly.
Imogen, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. So I'm Deputy Principal EP in Suffolk, and I'm very, very pleased to have contributed to this award. I was just thinking that we should make mention of the funding, and what else is quite special and unique about this offer is that what we'd like to do with any profit that's generated from this is to be able to fund the higher education experience of somebody who has had previous care experience. And we think that that's a unique feature of this that's not been replicated anywhere else in the country. So yeah, it was just to highlight that really.
Great. Thank you, Imogen. Graham, would you like to say something more from the university side?
Yeah, I think I understand the difference between having the credits and not having the credits, but I just wonder if you could recap the 2 routes that people would have available by taking the course.
So there's one route to taking the course we're promoting in this webinar, really. Maybe Maureen can go back to the slide where we had the course overview. So people can take this as the only university module, right? So you just sign up for this training and you get the credits. And then if you decide that you actually wanted the whole MA, you could be not doing 15 credits, but doing 180 credits. So that's a whole MA. Or you can do a postgraduate certificate at our university, which is 60 credits. So you already earned 15 through this award. So you can be bringing this award to other further study with your credits. This gives you 15 credits towards any future level 7 studies that you would like to do. You may say that actually, I already know I want to study an MA. I want the full degree. Please do, and you will still get the award as part of your whole studies. Ro, did you have anything else to add?
I wondered if another question might be, can I take this course if I don't live or work in Suffolk? And so the answer being definitively yes. That's one of the reasons we wanted to make it online as well. We know as a virtual school, we have children in the care of Suffolk in schools in other local authorities, but in our partnership working with other virtual schools across the country and across the Eastern region, we'd be really keen for people to take the course that don't live or work in Suffolk. And I suppose I just wanted to say a huge thank you as well. I think the partnership between ourselves with the university, with the psychology and therapeutic services, has brought together a really unique offer. So I just wanted to say thank you as well to all the colleagues on the call that have been so instrumental in bringing this together.
Thank you, Ro. Maureen?
Following from what Rose said, not only if you're outside of Suffolk can you still take the course, but also I was speaking to one of our students earlier today who is studying for early years practice, and she was asking about the entry requirements for this level 7 postgraduate credit-bearing module. And I just wanted to clarify as well that if you are a designated teacher, you probably already have your BA. It's probably not something you're thinking about. But if you are somebody who is perhaps a support worker or a carer, and you're just interested in this topic and want to study, if you do have some experience, we are able to take that alongside any education that you've already earned as well. So it is definitely worth inquiring with us. If you have a passion for this, and this is something that you've been actively working in, we are able to take work experience alongside educational experience when we're admitting for the course. So please do get in touch with us.
That's an excellent point. Thank you, Maureen, for clarifying that. We had some apologies in the chat. If people couldn't make it to this event, we will be sharing the recording. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much to the partnership, to the constellation, so that we can be bringing people together. And this is the start of the conversations. We're starting this course at the end of November, right? Maybe we can say that that's the start of the course. And then we will be running it regularly, and we can be in touch again. We are happy to answer questions, to maybe do a presentation even if there's more questions. Please get in touch and let's start growing the partnership to all the schools in the region and beyond. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to our partners for coming today as well. If there are any questions, get in touch. Otherwise, we hope everybody has a wonderful evening and has a bit of food for thought about further actions for supporting children in care.
Thank you.
Bye.